All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, we want to send all of you our thank yous for your support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do, and they enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. And as we stated before, we do this because we love it, and we are simply doing this to share our passions with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. The Dallas Cowboys, Week 8, because remember they had a bye week this past week, so Week 8 in the NFL, or 7 now, the Cowboys are 6-1, going on the road and playing against the Minnesota Vikings, where it was revealed that Dak Prescott was out for the game because of the calf injury that he suffered, making a game-winning touchdown pass against the New England Patriots. Now, yes, for some of you who are asking, being that they were playing in Minnesota, yes, that is Prince that you hear playing in the background. Rest in power to that icon. So due to Dak Prescott's injury, preseason star Cooper Rush made his first ever NFL start, and our stats go as follows. 24 of 40 attempts, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, as well as a sack fumble. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, 16 carries, 50 yards. Tony Pollard, 7 carries, 26 yards, which is to be expected that the Minnesota Vikings would line up and run the football. No, I'm sorry, the Dallas Cowboys would line up and try to really force the run. It should be no surprise that the Vikings, knowing that Dak Prescott isn't playing, making Cooper Rush make those throws to beat him. I thought he did a good job in trying to ball up the run, which opened up plays in the passing game. Amari Cooper, 8 catches, 122 yards, including the game-winning touchdown catch. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches, 112 yards. Cedric Wilson, 3 catches and 84 yards, including a beautiful 35-yard pass. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, 4 catches, 23 yards, and possibly the play of the game, but we'll get to that later. On the defensive side, rookie sensation Micah Parsons, who I thought had his best game in his very young pro career, 11 total tackles, 10 solo, 4 tackles for a loss. And this guy was running down running backs, beating Dalvin Cook in the hole. Clearly his best game as a professional, and you can tell this kid is really growing, and this kid is really the truth. Jaron Kearse, 6 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Jordan Lewis, 5 total tackles, 4 solo, and some hard hits. Anthony Brown, 5 total tackles, 4 solo. And Randy Gregory, 1 sack, or the sole sack of the game. Definitely was a rough going at first for the Cowboys. I'm talking the Vikings took their opening possession, scored a touchdown, and you thought maybe it was on the way to a rough game. But I give the Dallas Cowboys defense, who really kept them in the game, specifically one Micah Parsons. So I thought the Cowboys defense played well. Greg the Leg Zuerlein missed an earlier kick that could have cut the game down to 7-3, but the Cowboys clearly battled back. They were down 10-3 going into the third quarter, and a couple of plays really worked out in the Cowboys' favor. There was a wild play where Cooper Rush is throwing the ball gets tipped by a Minnesota defensive player, falls into the hands of center Tyler Biadasz, who, thinking that it would have been an illegal touch, then immediately laterals the ball to the tight end. You thought it was going to be a penalty, but the referee, they conferred, they picked the flag up and stated that being that the ball was tipped, it was fair game for anybody to touch the football. So that saved the Cowboys. We talked about the Cedric Wilson pass, who has made some nice passes, and it appeared to be a broken play. Luckily for CeeDee Lamb, never quitting on a play, burst wide open for the 35-yard gain, so that was a great pass. The Amari Cooper catch. Now, this is Amari Cooper, who, after leaving the game with a pulled hamstring, came back and makes now, of course, I'm not going to equate to the significance of the catch like a Steve Smith catch or the Julian Edelman catch for the Patriots. I'm not talking about the significance. I'm talking about the odds of the catch happening, where the ball bounces off the chest of the Minnesota defensive back Breeland and jumps and bobbles by Cooper, who came down with the catch. So those are 2 or 3 plays right there that could have gone either way for the Dallas Cowboys. So now as the Cowboys are progressing down the field for what appears to be a game-time field goal, I wish Kellen Moore was personally calling more run plays. He decides to call a safe check down to Ezekiel Elliott, where all he has to do is be tackled and you're guaranteed a field goal, splits the defenders, gets a 1st and goal with less than 50 seconds left. Now all the momentum are on the Dallas Cowboys side. Then we go into a really acrobatic catch by Amari Cooper, where even Cooper Rush stated that he had no idea that Cooper even caught the ball. So a great acrobatic catch, but in this game, you saw the Cowboys stars, especially on the offensive side, start to really make plays when it mattered most. Ezekiel Elliott, having a rather quiet game running the football, again makes one of the plays of the game by splitting 2 defenders, which if he's tackled at any point would have resulted in a field goal, but that resulted in the go-ahead touchdown. Amari Cooper, the acrobatic, what are the odds, bounce off the chest of a receiver, bobbles in his hands, and then catches it, as well as making the game-winning catch. So definitely your 2 highest paid players, your offensive playmakers. Again, CeeDee Lamb with another great game. Had a really bad drop at third, I believe it was 3rd and 8. So, but again, he more than made up for it. So definitely a win that the Cowboys definitely stole one in Minnesota. The Cowboys are now 6-1, playing the Denver Broncos next week. Now, of course, we do not gloss over wins, nor do we overreact to losses. Even the Cowboys were to lose this game, we were not going to overreact, because I thought defensively they played excellent. They did a good job of bottling up Dalvin Cook, and again, Micah Parsons was all over the place, filling the holes up, running down running backs. I'm talking about running around blockers to run down running backs. So even if the Cowboys would have lost the game, we would not have overreacted, because we thought the defense played well, if not for the opening drive, holding the Vikings to field goals the rest of the way. I believe the Vikings only completed 1 of 11, 1 of 12 third down. So a good mark of any defense is third down efficiency, turnovers, and quarterback sacks. Now, the Cowboys had not had a single turnover. All the big talk was about Trayvon Diggs, having another interception. Really wasn't needed, because the Cowboys, again, were 1 for 11 on third down, having a key quarterback sack. Really, even some of the sacks and tackles on Kirk Cousins was lucky enough to hold on to the ball. So I thought the Cowboys definitely played well. Now, some of the things that still have to be cleaned up, a bunch of penalties. Now, in that 4th quarter where you had a roughing the passer penalty on Terrell Basham, I thought that was a bad call. You had another questionable call on Randy Gregory when he pulled the Vikings offensive lineman, and that was kind of a late call. You had another call against Randy Gregory when Dalvin Cook, like his forward progress was stopped or he was slowing down. But of course, it's hard to hear the whistle. So you have 3 personal fouls. So 45 yards worth of penalties that resulted in the Vikings' final field goal. So again, tough play. It's a way to play aggressive, but it's also a way to be smart about it as well. So let's clean up some of these penalties, because again, these things will start to haunt you as the games matter, as we get into November, December, and start making the playoff run. And the Cowboys, already at 6-1, have already tied their win total from last season. So they are definitely trending in the right direction. Now, just how is Dak Prescott's calf going to heal? Again, going into the Broncos at home, do you sit Dak out for another week or so? So that's going to be a decision that the coaches are going to have to make. Again, if Dak is playing this game, the Cowboys are blowing the Vikings out, no questions asked. So do you sit Dak out against the Denver Broncos? Even they too have a stingy defense. So, and of course, that's going against the Atlanta Falcons. But again, we don't want to look past the Broncos. Our focus should be the Denver Broncos. Again, does Dak Prescott sit for another week to kind of heal that calf. Again, I'm sure that'll be talk for all your mainstream sports media. There was a concern for Trayvon Diggs, who appeared to be hurt in one of the final offensive plays of the game. He came off the field. It looked like that they were rubbing his leg. When they showed the replay, they showed that the defender had banged against and appeared to be his right leg. So we're going to hope that Trayvon Diggs is okay. His loss will signal a big hole to fill. They do have Kelvin Joseph back, but he's only a rookie. So we'll see what he does there. So we'll definitely keep our eyes out for Trayvon Diggs. Tyron Smith must have injured his ankle, because I was noticing that he was out of the game until they confirmed it. Ty Nsekhe played a little rough at first, but I thought finally got himself together, playing against former Cowboy Everson Griffin, who come to expect didn't do much for the Cowboys last year. Obviously tried to ball out today, as well as former defensive back Xavier Woods, who really didn't do much for the Cowboys, but definitely balled out today. So again, a couple of key injuries that the Cowboys should be concerned about, as obviously the calf of Dak Prescott, the leg of Trayvon Diggs, as well as the ankle of one Tyron Smith. As a good buddy of mine stated, this could be one of those teams that maybe injuries could derail any playoff chances. So again, let's just hope that guys who are backups are paying attention in practice and doing what they're supposed to do. So we give the Cowboys all the credit for starting their second-string quarterback, having a game-winning touchdown. So definitely congratulations to Cooper Rush. Now let me say this to other fair-weather Cowboys fans, to the Skip Baylesses of the world and all of the fans who on Twitter, it turned out, well, we don't have a lot of faith in Cooper Rush, but I hope I can be wrong, or you had Skip Bayless. I don't see there's any way that Cooper Rush can win the game. I prefer Will Grier. I prefer Cam Newton. Really, was Cam Newton really lighting the scoreboard up, or was he really lighting the world up in New England last year? No, he was not. So it turned into, I prefer anybody else except Cooper Rush. Then when Cooper Rush wins the game, now all of a sudden it's go Cowboys. So again, a lot of fair weather Cowboys fans out here, and I'm starting to realize what people do. I think people want to cover themselves. They'll say, well, at least they call it both ways. They want both sides of their bread to be buttered. On the one end, if Cooper Rush would have lost the game, they can hang their hat by saying, well, you see, I figured we had no chance to win the game. But now if you say go Cowboys, well, I was all the rage about one Cooper Rush. So, no, a lot of fellow Cowboys fans are eating some serious crow right now, because, again, they're ready to throw the dirt on one Cooper Rush. Again, calls for Cam Newton, calls for other players to be brought in. He's a backup quarterback. You clearly saw the drop-off with Dak and Cooper Rush, so let's not kid ourselves, even though I said jokingly to build a statue for Cooper Rush. However, you clearly saw the drop-off, overthrowing receivers at some points on the game, and missing some wide open throws. But again, he is a backup quarterback. You want your backup quarterback to be serviceable to win these type of ball games, where the Cowboys don't look outmatched with a Cooper Rush like they look outmatched with everybody who played last year, from the Blaine Gabbers to the Ben DiNucci's to the Andy Daltons. So this is the type of game that the Cowboys, their stars came through. Defensively, they look like a different team. They have an attitude. So all the pieces should be in place for a sustained run towards the end of the season. So let's just hope that they keep up the momentum. They stay humble about themselves. The injury bug does not bite them, and they keep tapping into this formula of doing what they have to do to win these hard games, because you can make an argument that last year the Dallas Cowboys are not winning this type of game last year. So there is a different identity with the team, especially on the defensive side, that is clearly carrying over. Again, when you're historically bad last year, you have no way but to go up the following season. I think the Cowboys have exceeded those expectations so far, with the emergence of Micah Parsons as well as one Trayvon Diggs. And we'll see what the future holds. Until the next time, this Chin Check Radio signing out.